It was really interesting.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you very much for coming. This meeting is of the Board of Education Public for the purpose of conducting school district business. It is not to be considered a public hearing meeting. There's a time for public participation during the meeting as indicated in the agenda item remarks of the public. And can you roll for these?
Mr. Ochoa. Mr. Kilroy.
Here.
Mr. Kokowski. Here. Dr. Phelps.
Here.
Mr. Thorson.
Here. All please stand and join us for pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Section 3, the approval of the agenda items.
So moved.
Second.
I'll second it. I have a couple items that I'd like to add. The first is having Kay Maltington speak to the board at our next meeting.
Wasn't that cable? That's not on this agenda for this one here.
You know what? You're absolutely right. I only had one that I wanted to add, which is having a special meeting advertised so that specifically so that any board member can attend the briefing on the survey that's going to be released by Burgess & Burgess.
I don't really know if that's what we're going to do.
Well, it would be an item to vote on.
Hold on, okay,
Yeah. Whether or not we do it, we have, just
Mr. President, it's my understanding because this is a special meeting, we're restricted only to the items that were advertised in the public meeting notice.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so we can't do that.
All right.
Okay. Thanks, Dan.
Let me note it. We're going to try it.
Thanks, Dave.
Okay, so can we, any other discussion? Can we call the roll, please?
Mr. Torrey.
Yes.
Mr. Kilroy.
Yes.
Mr. Kokowski.
Yes.
Dr. Phelps.
Yes.
Mr. Thorson.
Yes.
Section 4, remarks from the public. Please note all persons wishing to address the board have a 5-minute limitation. Please state your name, address, and topic. Beers.
I see that you are,
Your name.
Bill, yes, 11481 James Street, Chesterland, Ohio. For the rest of you that don't know. I see you're going to talk about some upcoming new funds, and I just had a couple of questions for you to think about when we get to that discussion. First of all, under the drama fund, you say that the management of the fund will be the responsibility of the individual holding the high school drama club supplemental contract, but it doesn't look to me like there's an equivalent statement under the music fund and the science fund. So,
I'm sorry, which one?
okay, so look at the drama fund.
Yep.
Sentence 3. It says the management of the fund will be the responsibility of the individual holding the high school drama club supplemental contract. Okay, you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't see an equivalent statement in the music fund description or in the science fund description.
And that may be.
Do you want it or not? I'm not making a judgment statement. Just
I can respond if you'd like.
Sure.
The discussions we held in the Finance Committee meeting revolved around the fact that for the music fund and the science fund, the second and third, it would be the superintendent would have the responsibility, and it would only be the drama fund where there would be a shared responsibility with another staff member. So that wasn't an inadvertent omission. I think that's a result of the discussions in the committee.
okay. That's not clear to me in the way that the wording is stated. So I'll let you guys figure out how you want to do it. And my second question is it possible to give to the still give to a particular item without it going into the fund. So for instance, if I wanted to give $500 to a specific project in the chemistry department, can I do that? Or will the money always go into the science fund and then be parceled out according to the budget?
My comment would be, if you want to give money to anybody, you want to give money to, you go right ahead and do it.
Okay, so this is on top, is separate from
Yeah.
the other donations, okay? I just want to make sure that that was the case, that these are really being set up almost as endowment funds, being separate from other kinds of donations. Okay, thank you.
Any other comments from the public? Okay. I'm sure I'm not missing anybody behind the phone. Okay. That brings us to the standing committee discussions. First one is personnel committee. Discussion of possible adoption of Alumni Liaison subscription.
Yeah, we've talked about the alumni job. There's a couple things that Mr. Bowman and I had talked about was whether that job would be enough to do it alone. There's definitely fundraising could be done. The question is what would be raised and for how much money we want to pay for someone to do that. We have fundraising for things like computers. We have fundraising for the stadium. So one of the ideas we had was working with maybe the community education. And since right now the community education is being done run by Chagrin Falls, even though it's happening here. So the question was to talk about was whether we would combine those if we're going to have an alumni who would actually be a community outreach person / alumni person to, number one, make the job a little bit more, financially feasible because they wouldn't be just doing fundraising. They would also be hopefully running the education program here for our community instead of Chagrin running it directly here. So that was one comment.
Would you like to add a sentence then to it to research community education aspect then as a modification to the job description?
Right.
I'm not quite, I guess I don't understand. Community, you're talking about taking that away from community, Chagrin Falls, is that correct? And no longer having them run it and do all of those. This person would do the organizing, would we then in theory also create our own sports and things like that and advertise it in our own way? As well, our own booklet or something of that nature? Okay.
The advantage of that approach too is, I notice in here we're talking about benefits, and that's really unusual with WestG to give benefits to part-time people. And that way, if we have a full-time position, the person would be able to get benefits, and we wouldn't have any controversy or worrying about someone else who didn't get benefits. It would just solve that problem.
Sorry, we're looking at doing an alumni position. Now we're looking at doing supplemental education, right? Why don't we, what we do with currently, are we continuing that with the Chagrin Falls job?
We're contracted through July 1 or July. I think through July.
Okay, so this summer.
So if it would be something we brought in house, the person would be developing the program for the fall.
I'm kind of looking at two separate issues. I kind of like the idea of what we're trying to accomplish with the alumni. I think we should stick to that, and if we want to add this other element to it, then that should be another meeting that you guys look to devise that. I mean, I like the part-time position and them devoting their attention to that job. And then if we want to add this other element and then make that person in charge of that other element and make it a full-time position, I don't know.
Well, then I'm going to give part-time without benefits.
Okay, so.
Yeah, I think that's what Ben said. I think that's reasonable.
So if we have no benefits, I think Tom and Jeff has a good point. If we can at least research the concept of the community, I don't know if we have a handle on this, how many different things they do, what the ramifications are, how long it would take, but we can start the process, and if we didn't pick it up right away, since it's still part-time, maybe it grows in the course of a year worth of studying it into the next time around. So then the job could go part to full-time if that it looked like it would be. I don't know if there's 5 courses that go through community yet or 50 courses. And I don't, Jeff, do you know how many?
I would tell you the report we received for the fall indicated there were about 9 programs requested, and probably 3 of those had registrants.
So maybe instead of making it full-time, we should keep it part-time research.
It's not enough work for a full-time.
At least for now.
So, well, I could see right now, first of all, we're not voting on the alumni liaison right now. We're looking at the description. And I think, we can, if nothing else, we can certainly move what the alumni liaison is doing and how the description should be worded. I just had a few things, some minor things, which job description, we have to help develop a comprehensive alumni program. I felt that it should read, again, minor, the alumni liaison will help develop a comprehensive alumni program. And then on the second line, we have reporting to testing, grants, and special projects coordinator or superintendent, the person. I think that's reporting to, starting off, we have to work on that sentence because it's not a proper sentence. But one thing that was even more important was, I thought instead of will help, I would say will be responsible for developing an alumni program. And again, when we go down to the 4th sentence, we have the person will help schedule and plan alumni events and work with the media. We have help raise money for specific funds. I would say just instead of help and raise money for specific funds. The main thing is that makes the alumni liaison the point person for this job. So those are the 2 things. And then the
just clarify that help raise.
Oh, yeah.
Be the point person.
Absolutely, they have to be a point person because who else do we have?
Right. So
And that's why we have them, because we need a point
okay,
person.
I'm just trying to figure out what's the sentence, please.
Oh, okay. I just noticed we've got to rework more than this, Mike, because it reads, reporting to testing and grants and special projects coordinator or superintendent. Well, actually, that's okay. The person, and what I put is, will be responsible for developing, instead of will help. Just will be responsible for developing. Doesn't mean they want to help, it's just they're responsible.
If I might suggest, developing job descriptions is something that has been, is something that's typically done from the superintendent's office and brought to the board. I would suggest, I think as we discussed previously, but I would, if the board wishes to go in this direction, I would suggest that comments are sent, give me some comments, et cetera, to work on, and then I bring that to the April 28th meeting. Because there are some concerns about, the days, the hours, the rate of pay, we've talked about benefits. We have board policy that says certain provisions, certain statements must be included in our job descriptions. So there are some things we have to be careful of creating this sort of in a vacuum. So I would just throw that out on the table.
Jeff, you could do this for the next meeting, though, because there's,
Absolutely.
Okay.
My recommendation would be this: if it needs modification, I believe the board can vote tonight on approving the creation of a position with minor modifications that would be needed to make sure we have the right words in it. But we could at least establish the position so that Jeff can then advertise it whatever is necessary as soon as possible to move forward. Unless counselors or anything you think we need to.
It's typically preferable if you approve a job description when you create a position.
Okay.
Not mandatory, but preferable.
All right, so if we have the job description, which is to be responsible to develop a comprehensive alumni program reporting to the testing grants, special projects, person or superintendent.
Well, Mike, it doesn't say we're going to do that. If this is a special meeting, it says discussion and possible adoption of Alumni Liaison job description. So we're not
voting spot there to approve.
yeah, the job description, not a position. It says job description, an Alumni Liaison job description. So what we're authorized to do is vote on the job description, not the actual position.
I'm satisfied that that's the same resolution. If the board wants to create a position, incorporate this job description, I think that resolution.
Okay.
So why don't we just work on the text of that job description? That's something else you have. So you have to be responsible, job description, to be responsible to develop a comprehensive alumni program reporting to testing grants and special projects. One person and or superintendent. What did you have there?
Me?
Yeah.
I thought you were
No,
talking
no,
to Jeff.
I'm sorry.
So Jeff's wiggling back and forth. I'm thinking, oh, why is Jeff? Yeah.
I'm trying to incorporate.
Okay, sure. Let me get that to you. Job description. The Alumni Liaison will, instead of two.
Right.
And then, in the second line, the person will be responsible for developing an alumni program. And then, in the fourth line, person will schedule and plan alumni events and work with the media, comma, instead of period. And then, instead of help and raise money for specific funds, they're in place to be developed. So substituting and for help.
Okay.
And on this, I would suggest that we strike the benefits. And then in the bottom, where we talk about qualifications, the candidate should have fundraising experience, candidate should have significant media experience, or we should probably say experience working in the media field. And now, this is more substantial here that I'm talking about here. So listen carefully. It says right now, experience applying for grants or a class in grant writing is required. So what I would say is professional experience applying for grants or an appropriate relevant degree is required. And frankly, from my standpoint, and this is substantial too, we have the candidate preferably should live in the West Georgia School District. I question that because we want the best person we can possibly get. We want somebody to do the job.
This is preferably, it doesn't say has.
Well, I don't see
Yeah, I
why.
would preferably have, was a West G alum.
What?
I would preferably have a West G alum. When you have an
Now,
alumni program, typically it's somebody who used to was or has an alum.
But this is a good point.
I mean, it's just preferably, it's
Okay.
not saying that you can't hire somebody, but I mean,
And this is part-time. There may actually be, depending on how it goes, a more full-time person. As a alumni, if it works, if we hope it does, department works, there might be the alumni director, and that would be a totally different thing. This is just a part-time, let's get our feet wet, get started, and the church committee needs some help, get a point person.
then would you be against omitting full benefits offered by West G since it's just part-time?
No,
I mean, because if it did get to the point where we were stepping it up and turning it
It
into
could
full-time
change.
because it was great, you could then, you know,
It could change.
this is a learning.
so we'll strike
Right.
the benefits, we'll incorporate Mr. Kotowski's suggestions. The top part, I think the candidate preferably should live in the West G School District and or be an alumni. There you go, preferably.
I would also point the board to Board Policy 1400, that has specific stipulations for job descriptions, such as all job descriptions other than superintendent or treasurer are defined as administrative guidelines of the superintendent. And then also, each job description shall include the requirement that staff members serve as a role model and several other things there. It is important that if the board is going down this route, that you make sure you comply with the policies.
So what do we need to do?
It's policy 1400 is what I would point you to. There are several there's a few points in that policy that are specifically spelled out.
can we just make the comment to appropriate 1400 policy, unless you have it, if you want to read into it?
No, Mr. Kilroy, I'm sorry to be difficult, but I'm guessing policy 1400 has a lot more than just boilerplate language for the policy. Ideally, we craft a finished document, I'll go make photocopies of it, and then we vote on it. If we're gonna delegate flushing out and completing the job description, we might as well not do it tonight. If we're gonna do it tonight, let's get it all down on paper,
Okay.
everybody sees it,
Okay, so what,
and then make a vote.
all right, so what do we need to get that on paper further than that?
Well, I just heard that there are provisions in policy 1400 that need to be incorporated. You need to get those exact words and the exact location with the correct grammar as we've been trying to do with the other language.
It makes more sense to get it together. I don't know what that policy is, so I don't, I don't know if I'd be assessing reading it here, knowing what it is. So to me, it seems like
Can we pass it down a bit, to see how long?
It's a few statements. It's each job description shall include the requirement that the staff member serve as a role model for students in how to conduct themselves as citizens and as responsible, intelligent human beings. In particular, each job description shall indicate the staff member's legal responsibility to help instill in students the belief in and practice of ethical principles and democratic values. So those are two statements that by policy 1400 need to be in there.
Okay.
They're just ethical.
But can we, Dan, those are the two
All right,
statements?
tell me where do we place that on this document?
Just right under qualifications, candidate should have fundraising experience. Those two statements. Jeff, can you borrow that so we can jot it down? Thank you.
So I'm trying to do this in Mr. Filkowski's alternate statement on experience. Do you have that? Thank you.
I suppose. Well, I didn't realize we were voting on, or I read this voting on a job description as opposed to voting on the job. I sent everyone Kay's LinkedIn qualifications and so on. And you can see from those qualifications, she's very well versed in this. This job is not unique. Other school districts have done it or tried it. And Kay did this for 5 years for Cleveland Heights University Heights, and she has a lot that she can contribute that would give us a better understanding of what this job should be, could be. And I would really like to wait until we heard from her because, frankly, none of us have the kind of experience she has. I know, Jackie, you've done some parochial school fundraising, and Michael has beat the bushes, but nobody has experience as an alumni liaison or actually as a grant writer, no one on the board. And so we're creating this position with a high degree of, the lack of knowledge about what goes into this and what traditionally has happened to positions like this. And I'd really like us to have the opportunity to talk to Kay and see what she has to say on this subject.
I did talk to her because she sent me an email on the 8th. And so we did talk, and she expressed that she felt it was very difficult to raise money in a private environment. She said that she actually wasn't for creating a job. She told me she had plenty of experience. And I said, well, it's only a part-time position, and she was under the impression that I was a full-time position. And I said, how much money do you think we would want to raise? I said, this is probably going to be a $25,000 a year part-time job. She goes, I don't believe in a public environment that you can even raise that much money for me. So I informed her that we've already raised $50,000 for smart boards and $215,000 for iPads, and we had a church group that was well into the way of raising $300,000. She said, oh, I didn't realize how successful you guys have been. So I said, should it turn into something full-time, whether it be something along that line, we would be happy to have her come and address this. And she was fine.
Well, actually, I talked to her after we talked to her. She David called. And she wasn't fine with the mic. She felt that you didn't listen, you didn't listen to talking. She felt that she had very little input into the entire thing. And what she said is that she reiterated that she didn't think we could raise the kind of money we needed. And one of the reasons is because, remember, I had supported this, and one thing I thought was that if we just paid for the person, I have no doubt we could pay for the person. I happen to think we could raise $25,000. I actually think we could raise quite a bit more. What I had not anticipated was that when you're raising money, you have a responsibility to spend those funds where people expect you to, which is on the schools. And if we end up with a large percentage of our money that we're collecting going to overhead, I mean, how many people would give if we said 50 cents of every dollar is going to go to the schools? The problem is our overhead compared to what we could raise would be extremely high. And the second thing is, it's not just the cost of this person. If you're going to have a person employed in fundraising, there are a lot of things you have to do. You have to have a lot of collateral materials. Now, you probably get stuff from university school, and you get a ton of stuff, you know, practically every month. You get an annual report in the magazine. They have dinners and events for people. That's what it takes to raise funds. It takes a budget along with this person. You know, we will need a web presence, we'll need regular emails, we'll need a database, we'll need some kind of newsletter and regular mailings. And the regular mailings, even in the time of email, are important on this because with regular mailings, you get back the no longer active addresses. You have to send them out first class. Then the addresses come back, and you know those addresses are no longer good. So there's more that goes into this when you're using an employee and when you're trying to organize alumni. You know what you did, Mike, was you did, like you've said many times, you were a shoe leather kind of guy. And you went out and knocked on doors and talked to people and got the money raised, and you tossed in a big chunk of your own money. And, you know, that's different. That's not building an alumni organization and building the regular donors. And that's why I'd like Dave to talk to us. You know, my mind can still be changed either way on this. But once I realized the possibility that our overhead might be so high that only a small proportion of the money would go to the schools, and that people who were donating would be very upset with that if they knew. You know, because initially we had the discussion, and I probably said this, well, as long as we cover our costs. But we can't just cover our costs, because when people give money, they're not giving money for overhead, they're giving money to the schools. So,
I have a question. So, this lady contacted you. Did she contact you?
yeah,
How did you know to contact you?
I know her. Okay. I said, call Mike, don't say they know me, because if it comes from me, Mike's going to say no.
Okay.
And I said, then Mike can listen to what you have to say, and he can judge it for himself.
Okay. We're voting tonight to create a job description to see what the pool of candidates could come up with. We're not hiring anybody. We're writing a job description. We're going to post that. We're going to see what kind of candidates we get. Correct?
That's not what...
And then you're going to have this gal come on our next board meeting. You're going to add her to our agenda, and she's going to talk to us. Why do we have to wait to have all that happen?
Well, because Mike was saying we were authorizing the position. And if we vote, and Mr. Wajewski said that's okay, we can do that. So if we vote to authorize the position, then that means we're looking to hire someone, right? Now, well, that means we're looking out there, looking to hire someone. And we can hire someone at any point.
Do you want
I
think
think
we hire this person at a certain point after?
this person works for Hiram College. She's the director of one of their schools. She doesn't want this job.
No,
She's a
I'm not saying
professional.
that. I'm not saying
Oh,
that.
okay, you're talking this person being the...
Stop.
Yeah.
Just let me...
Go ahead.
You'd like her to come to the board, and you'd like her
Yeah.
to speak,
Yeah.
and you'd like her to come for that 28th meeting.
Yeah.
That sounds like a great idea. I'd love to see what her input is. So, but you would rather sort of stall this until she comes and speaks to us.
Yeah.
And gives us her...
Yeah, I'd rather we wait until we get some professional
We're
input.
not necessarily
on this.
hiring anybody prior to this person coming and talking, correct?
Correct.
So why would we wait?
Well, when
She's
she
going to
wants
come, she's
to...
going to talk, and we'll get her input, and we'll have
Yeah.
candidates that we can talk and interview, right?
Well, what we want, I thought, is to know if we're going ahead with this position, which is what this discussion is about now.
Right.
And
I think
and
from
I
that
would think-
direction, I think from that direction, that comes to a vote. I think.
Right,
and I'm here to go in that direction.
my thought is, listen to what a professional has to say, somebody who's actually done this job.
Sounds great.
Come in,
Let's have a
who has
conversation.
20 years of experience.
I don't think you saw that.
And why would you authorize a job when you don't really have the full amount of information to know if that job should exist? What you want to do is gather the information and then make a good decision on whether that job should exist.
Then I helped 11 years, raise $1.5 million. I worked day in, day out with Director of Curriculum, Director of Finance, and Director of Alumni. I am 100% confident, 150% confident that every day we waste not having an alumni coordinator is costing us money.
Well, how much money would they raise? What do you think our overhead would be versus what they raised? Because the most...
We're never, ever going to... I
We're never
said
gonna
that
go until we get started.
OSBA had tons of things about public schools starting this, because it's always been this, false spread that only parochial schools can do it. Quite frankly, Geauga County is the richest county in the state of Ohio. There is money here. There's tons of money here. I'm not afraid to ask for it. If there's somebody out there that is good at what they do, that's only going to help our school.
Why don't
How
we-
you could pass up free money.
Why don't we call the question, please? I'll second it.
Would you be kind enough to make sure I incorporated the correct comments there before the roll call, please?
I think we didn't add the thing about the education, community education, so if we're going to put that in there, it's to help.
Under job description, yeah, Dan, under job description, we're going to say to research the community ed
Well,
reimbursement.
the other night wanted it separated.
But just to research, that doesn't mean to do it. We got, as long as we're giving.
I didn't hear a consensus on that.
Well,
If you're going to post it as that part of the job, then you can't really add other,
we can say the research, we don't have, it doesn't have to be done as long as it's part-time. It looks like something that might have.
We can have this person we hired research it.
Yeah.
You have that, well, you just have the superintendent's office research. I mean,
Yeah.
we can motion for that. All right.
I agree with that, because I personally think that giving this person any other job requirements other than alumni is setting them up for failure.
I could agree with that.
Okay.
Especially
then
if-
adds it, Dan adds it.
Before you go to vote, I just want a clarification because I expressed some of my concerns over the weekend. This is going to be an administrative position based on this job recommendation. I expressed some concerns about that. The 225 days and the salary, I'm just going to throw those out. That salary for a part-time person is the equivalent of, is the near equivalent of our highest paid hourly workers in the district. And those are the concerns I think the board needs to know as they make this vote. We have that $25 an hour is probably below only a handful, if that, of hourly employees in our district.
And what is your concern with the days?
Well, the days are significant, given central office administrators are typically 229, most of them. Most people, as we've had this discussion, have talked about it being more closely aligned to the school year rather than basically 4 weeks on either side of the school year.
Which would be what, how many days would that be?
The school year is,
180.
a teacher is 184, so, what I would, and there's probably some downtimes in this position as well, and I think the district has some experience with some positions like that. Going back through the years, even our communications director worked 180, but spread those out so that during the school year, maybe not every day was in the building, but there were days prior to and after the school year. So,
And what do the secretaries do? Because I know they stay longer than 180. What do they do?
I'm going to grab at straws and not see any friendly faces. Well, I see plenty of friendly faces, but none who would be able to answer that question. I take that back.
I think there'd be alumni functions after the school year that would take days, and stuff like that.
I mean, you're talking, like I said, you're talking a full month before school and a full month after school in this proposal basis.
So if we said
I would have, I mean, they're all meeting in the middle.
200 days? I was just trying to get something to make it easier to do the math for the hour. So if you had 200 days and you had 5 hours or something.
I would go closer to a secretary, because they usually go at least a week or two.
Secretaries, I believe, are 213 or 229.
So 200 is pretty fair.
Okay, so 200, if we're looking at 4 to 5 hours, that would be 8 to 1,000 hours there. To be just have that thing figured out, is that acceptable?
Jeff, the hourly wage, where would you see that?
Well, I guess what I'd like to do is be able to, is to lay this out against our other salary schedules that are in the.
When you and Dr. Phelps talked about this position, did you have a range, Tom, when you guys talked about this?
Well, we talked about that, we thought that salary was high, because I think I don't know, we allowed to mention like what the salary of the person is who, like the secretary, which again is, you told me that was like half that. So I mean, if this person has a college degree and is, but I guess my only question is how much is, so what did that come out to be? Was it 25,000 that you got to add? What's all the, you may be not getting benefits, you still have to pay FICA out of that, right? So you're still paying, there's not just salary benefits, there's background benefits. So what
You had 14% retirement on
14.
So when you add
1.45 Medicare, 1.6 for workers' comp. So about just over 16%.
on top of the 25.
Well, my comment would be the personnel meeting was March 12th. There was plenty of time to put together some sort of information or comparison in the last month and 3 days.
Mike, Dr. Phelps and I did meet a second time, and some of the concerns that were brought up were discussed.
Okay, so did you do that chart that you wanted to lay against? I'm just saying.
Dr. Phelps and my discussion didn't focus on the half-time, as he mentioned earlier. We focused on the concept of the full-time. This proposal is not, wasn't one that came from that committee.
Is there consensus on maybe a different dollar amount that people would be more comfortable with since there is the retirement?
Well, I could see a range. I mean, that's typically you have a range in a job rather than a single figure.
Experience?
Very good. Yeah, experience and qualifications.
And
Just
if you want to
some clarification on contracts, Mr. Booth, correct these. The days we have high school and middle school, we have a secretary in each building year-round, 261 days. Most of the other building secretaries are 229. Staff secretaries are 208. So.
And do you know what like the testing grants coordinator position, like that, how many days that one is? Because I would say that's pretty comparable.
I want to say that's a 229 contract.
Oh, so then you were probably closer on like with the 225.
I'm glad we're hammering this out, honestly, because I'd like to move forward, but
Fine. Want to put a dollar amount there? Put a range, $20 to $25 an hour, or 15 to 25? How many other secretaries think?
Our most experienced hourly secretarials are in the $21 an hour range, 20 to 21.
do you think the position is similar to that of secretary? I mean, as we're discussing this, I see this person being, and again, not taking away from the secretary, but I see this person as having a skill set that's completely different than what a secretary might have.
And I'm not comparing, I'm just giving a point of reference when you go hourly pay.
So
Because I'm expecting this person to go out into the community, and I'm expecting them to do some of that kind of stuff, which I wouldn't expect the secretary to do.
Would 20 to 25 be more acceptable for you?
Well, after hearing about all the days, I'm almost for going back to the 225, quite frankly.
Tom, do you have the days?
Yeah, I mean, the days, the salary probably being more like in the 20 range would be more reasonable.
How about 20 and 25 based on experience?
Okay. And your days, you're going to go from 200 to
Don't
225?
forget where it was. I mean, after hearing where all, everybody, you know, even testing grants and secretaries, they're all 220 to 229.
You want to make them the same as the administrative staff, 229?
Well, I don't, I mean, whatever.
4 more days. Jeff, what do you think? I mean, should they be that same time? Should that person be sort of the same as the administrative staff? Or do you think it's too much time?
My personal opinion is, starting out, it's always easier to add days to someone if they need more work than it is to take days away down the road if the work isn't needed.
How about 200?
All right. In your other district, did you have a position like this?
Dan, are you caught up?
The only other thing I would ask for clarification, the job is part-time, 4 to 5 hours a day or 1,050 hours. Should that just say up to 1,000 hours?
Fine. That's fine. Up to.
That's 5 hours a day, times 200 days.
Yeah. That's fine. It's not too high.
And it's a one, I think we talked about, is it a 1 year salary, a 1 year position? As far as being able to, if it didn't work out, what would be?
Does it say, does that have to be in this? It does not have to be in this.
That's an employment decision.
Yeah.
The salary doesn't need to be,
Oh, it doesn't? So should we omit it? No, okay.
that's what it has to be.
Okay. My last appeal, I really wish we would wait until we had a contract with the teachers and had a new 5-year forecast, because we've been spending a lot of money, and we've been cutting money coming in. And I would just like to see the 5-year forecast, know where we stand. No, that doesn't include our contract with the teachers, because we don't have one yet. So that's where I'm coming from. So I'm not like a rock against this, but I'm really hesitant to move on this. I want to hear the discussion that we have after Kay comes in and talks to us, and I want to see where our budget is after we have an agreement with the teachers. So, you know, right now I'm going to vote against this. I may vote for it later, but right at this moment it's a vote against it, which is only a vote against it at this time, not a vote that's a categorical vote against this whole concept or this position.
And I would just like to make the other statement that, again, I understand where you're coming from, because I have, been holding conversations of we need to really err on the side of caution with spending money. But again, to me, this is one of those things that is not supposed to be a cost, in turn. So to me, this has no relevance as a cost figure, even though in the beginning you're spending it, within a year time you should have that one more.
Yeah, I know where you're coming from. That's one thing that makes this more palatable, is the hope that it will pay for itself and pay for itself in such a big way that we don't have to worry about the ratio of overhead to the money we raise, so that we can tell people, if anyone asks, that 70 or 80 cents of every dollar goes to the schools, and that's what I want to see too. So,
If this is moving forward, the final point I would just bring up is I think it's important that there is an anticipated start date expressed by the board. Is this something that you want starting by May 1st, by June 1st, by September 1? I think as far as the posting, the posting of our treasurer position right now is that, to get applicants is May 23rd. That posting is out there several weeks. When I spoke last meeting, I said, it's not unusual to have about a 3-week, maybe a 4-week posting period to get that pool as wide as you can. And if this is moving forward based on board expectation, really what I'm looking for is some direction as to what the board expects for this move as it moves forward.
My personal expectation is summer. So, by summertime, throughout the summer, we have somebody before we start the next
June
school.
1st?
That would be my expectation, so they have some time.
What day? June 1?
When is our
Can
board?
I ask you,
When's our board meetings?
Brad is working on, that company's doing the database for us, correct? Do they have some type of, not data completion, because I know that's going to take a long time, but a starting point that can be accessed at this person?
Unfortunately, I don't have that right now. The other piece, I guess I would just throw out is if this position is administrative, John, that would fall into the standard August 1 contract period. So if you were looking at having someone prior to August 1, you could look at some sort of interim contract and then start a regular contract following.
My thought, based on that, my thought would be the sooner they start, the better. But you could have a start step, you could have an interim contract, but then a 1 year starting on August 1st, use a regular calendar. But the more a person is on board now to meet with people and learn the process and try to have a more productive year for the full year, the better. So that would be my suggestion. So why don't we say a May 1, then that would give us.
Not a May one.
No.
How could you have somebody in 2 weeks?
Well, I don't think it takes a month to find a part-time person.
I would say
Maybe.
June 1st to
June. I just want, because school ends, how much time do you get to overlap? May 15th. It's a month.
To do anything prior to June, it's
June 1st.
presumptuous, I would say.
June 1st.
And you still have your friend come talk to us.
Yeah, because, if nothing else, she'll give us a good background on how this works.
All right. So that was easy, Dan. Are you all set?
Well, the June 1st date would not go in the job description, that's more of an employment position. So I believe the only adjustments I've made since I distributed that document was reducing 225 days to 200 days. The job is part-time up to 1,000 hours. Pay range is $20 to $25 per hour based upon experience. That's what I captured.
Okay. With that in mind, can we make a motion
Motion, Tom?
to adopt
So moved.
Yeah, make a motion to adopt this as we've written it here.
I'll second.
any more further discussion?
Good job, Tom.
Okay. That being said, can we please call the roll again?
Dr. Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Polkowski?
No.
Mrs. Vittori?
Yes.
Mr. Kilroy?
Yes.
Mr. Thorson?
Yes.
We then have, the second thing is Finance Committee, Mr. Thorson.
Dan was kind enough to meet with me, and we discussed from our last meeting what we would have to do as being sort of, what do we call it, an accounting line item in the budget. How did you phrase that? In order to do these funds, they sort of had to be approved and sort of be
Yes,
a...
the board's establishing these funds, and we've determined fund classifications that do not require petitioning the auditor or state for permission to use them. So the board has, the discussions were to identify 3 funds that, rather than accepting unrestricted donations, would be designated not only for the purpose, drama club, or drama fund, music fund, or science fund, but also would be with the understanding that some additional fund restrictions were in place. All 3 of these were intended to augment existing programs. All 3 have a minimum donation of $2,500 if a donor wishes to place further donation restrictions. And finally, a maximum of 33% of the accumulated balance would be the maximum spent in any 1 year.
And as we looked at it, we really thought that there should be somebody who was in charge of those funds. Let's say those funds were pretty significant. We felt that the superintendent should be sort of the person to oversee that. When it was specifically a drama fund, and I appreciate Mr. Beers' comments to that, we felt that particular idea, because we have elementary schools, we have junior high school, and we have high school performances, that we had to be careful how we distributed those funds in particular. And so, again, all 3 of these funds, we decided the superintendent would be sort of overseeing, general manager.
Okay, it's my 2 cents.
Wait, hold on. Therefore, do you recall the responsibility for this or not?
No, Jeff, do you recall, I mean, how did we...
I was surprised to see.
Yeah, again, I think the high school drama
discussion.
club supplemental contract, I think everyone was just about the same. I think we need to just strike the benefit of the fund will be the responsibility of the individual with the high school drama club supplemental contract.
I don't like
I
that.
think that goes out, because the superintendent was going to be responsible for being the referee.
Yeah, the idea was that each individual director, if you will, would make a presentation to the superintendent, saying, I'm looking to do this, this play, and I might need these funds, and then it would ultimately be up to him to decide who would get the lion's share of those funds.
I know we talked a lot, we covered a lot of ground, so a lot of suggestions were made, and ideas were tossed around, but I think we tried to get them to be just about the same.
So in the drama fund, we will delete the third sentence, which reads, the management of fund will be the responsibility of the individual holding a high school drama club supplemental.
Correct.
Delete that sentence.
Correct.
I would agree with that, because music as well, you can have music in all three buildings as well, so you don't gotta do, you gotta be consistent with that.
And the whole idea of these funds were just that we've been approached by members of the community that would like to donate. And they didn't want to see their donations sort of end up in the general fund. And so in order to try to alleviate that, these special funds, that was an idea to do that.
You have to do that. I mean, even when I was with Benedict, every single year, I mean, we had obviously scholarships with 84% of our dollars raised because kids couldn't afford tuition. But, we would hold phone-a-thons and things like that to redo the library. And it was specific, to redo the library, specific, the earmarked items. So I think that's
Mr. Wilson, I think you suggested the greatest way to secure an alumni liaison success is to have specific projects to go where people understand projects. That's one of your suggestions to have.
Yes, I think that's been a proven technique in fundraising. If you're identifying the need for the fundraising rather than just the pride in the school district, helps aid the fundraising effort.
So I would like to move that we approve these three funds as they're written,
As
stricken, and as amended.
I second.
Is there any further discussion on it?
Lindsay's play goes to the PTO, not the district. Sorry.
Well, just to be clear, I mean, these funds are specific funds, but the other donations and other groups can still operate. So absolutely, this is just to supplement and to allow a structure.
But the Westwoods goes through PTO as well,
Yeah.
and it's the same. This one could be to maybe buy new stage curtains, to buy lighting for the district, to buy, it's not,
Yeah.
do you understand?
We had music going to shows or whatever.
The purpose
It
of
would be
these
great to
funds
raise
is
enough
not
liability.
is to go above and beyond what currently exists. It is really the simplest way to say it.
Yeah, we weren't detracting from what's already currently trying to try to help.
Never let it happen.
Are we set then? Can we call the roll, please?
Mr. Thorson?
Yes.
Mrs. Dottori?
Yep.
Mr. Kilroy? Yes. Mr. Kolkowski?
Yes.
Dr. Phillips?
Yes.
That brings us to superintendent's recommendations, item 6, resolution. Wow, sorry. Sorry, resolution adopting Calamity Day alternative date of plan.
Okay. Do you want me to go ahead? At your seats, I presented to you a revised 2013-14 school calendar and revised contingency plan. And realistically, it's not a change of the calendar other than the contingency days as was approved in our previous or currently existing master calendar, district calendar. I've spelled out the 13 total days that have been missed, 12 district-wide, and 1 at Lindsay only. As we know, the laws have changed that allow us to make, by board resolution, a change to our contingency day makeup, as well as the opportunity to use alternative formats to make up those days. And after discussions and research by my discussions with union leadership, both teachers and classified staff, the recommendation is for us, as you see on line 6 and 7 of that contingency plan, to extend our school year for students by 2 days for the Thursday and Friday of that first week of June. And then use blizzard bags, 2 days of blizzard bags, to be made up district-wide. And in talking with groups, we had weighed how the days would fall. If the board approves this tonight, tomorrow morning we will submit this to ODE. They will take a day or two to get back to us, and the target that we're shooting for is to start our first blizzard bag, and the law allows 2 weeks of time for that. And by the way, just to understand what a blizzard bag is, it's supposed to be the equivalent of a day's worth of work. So, you know, a first grade student, that teacher is providing them with a day's worth of work. A high school student who maybe has 6 class periods will be provided 6 lessons, or day 1 class lesson from all 6 classes. They're allowed 2 weeks to make that up. The work is submitted back to the teacher and graded, and then the teachers need to report to central office, because if a student doesn't complete their work, they're required by the law to be marked as absent on that day. So that would go back, for example, if a student didn't do their first blizzard bag district-wide, January 29th would be marked as an absence for them. So that's the logistical end of it.
Can I ask you one more thing? I don't know if I heard this or not. You can't give multiple at once, can you? Like, you can only get one, is that correct?
The intention that we discussed was having the first one rolled out the week of April 28th, prior to OAAs, especially, so that those students at those levels have the opportunity to get some refresher type work, a hand or some work targeted towards that. That would run for 2 weeks, and then May 12th would be the second assignment the week there. So we go 2 weeks, issue the second blizzard bag, post the second blizzard bag, and that would take us basically through up to Memorial Day for that. So that's the target. We think that allows time for our teachers to adequately prepare the assignment, as well as our web people in each of the buildings to get the assignments posted. If approved, it's my intention to get communication out on our website through our email and or phone notification system to our parents, as well as a separate communication to our teachers. So that's kind of the layout there as we see it. And the resolution, I didn't give all of you the resolution, but Dan has a resolution. It simply says, went through it with John, it's a requirements by law that you're adjusting the contingency day schedule, and we're using blizzard bags is really the gist of that entire resolution. And I ask that this revised contingency plan be included as part of the board motion for approval tonight.
I so move to include this contingency plan in the resolution.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Any
We
discussion?
don't really need much. The teachers have already said this is good for them.
Yeah, the other thing I would say, as far as the days, we talked with OC, with the days missed, the classified staff, there's just no way for them to make up blizzard bag day type work. So, it's just one of those things with the type of job.
How much do you guys I'm serious. That's not a joke.
They've already had their kids at home for a whole day. Isn't that compensation enough?
No, that's more reason.
And to me, and I've been hearing both sides of the story from all different types of parents, to me this is absolutely no different than if my kid was stuck home with the flu. The very next day, the only difference is he gets 2 weeks to complete it, rather than if my son misses a day of school, he has to have it done by the very next day, his missed work.
That's what how would, like, next year, say, how would we learn from this for next year? So say we And, you know, would we institute something different for next year? Like if this happened again next year, would we have this been done by March 1st? Or, I'm just pointing out that I don't know how.
I think probably the one answer I would say is one of the things we've encountered with the legislature sort of tacking the calendar change into other legislation. They're starting to encounter some of the, I think the phrase is unintended consequences. As we've talked about before, the July 1 date is an unintended consequence of the law, that if our negotiated agreements are done prior to July 1, the change to minutes or hours of instruction rather than days doesn't apply. But the intent of the legislation is that calamity days are gone next year, so that if you transition to hours and you miss your hours, you don't have to make those up until you reach the floor of what the state says you have to be in. So calamity days by definition are gone in next year's calendars.
Okay, thank you.
If there's no further discussion, can we call the roll here?
Mrs. Vettori?
Yes.
Mr. Thorson?
Yes.
Mr. Gilroy?
Yes.
Mr. Polkowski?
Yes.
Dr. Phillips?
Yes.
Our next regularly scheduled board meeting is April 28th. I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss employment and compensation of a public official in district treasurer search according to ORC 121.22G1 and negotiation with public employees ORC 121.22G4.
Oh, do we do it separate?
No.
We're just going both purposes, so we have a motion to vote. And I got a second for it? Yeah.
Mrs. Vettori?
Yep.
Mr. Gilroy? Yes. Mr. Polkowski?
Yes.
Dr. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Thorson?
Yes.